But I also want to thank you most of all for your thoughtfulness. It's not everybody who would remember to give such a beautiful present for the achievement of 33 years of marriage. And one of the key talents you have to make your marriage last 33 years is to try not to argue with your wife. And I'll tell you a very funny story. When we achieved 30 years of marriage, it was a big celebration. And we were sitting in our pastor's office after church. And we were talking about the celebration that was coming, 30 years of marriage. And so my wife started saying that, Pastor, don't you see, 30 years of marriage, this marriage has survived because of me. That is me who's made this marriage survive. Otherwise, this man, who would want to marry him? And then I made the mistake of arguing and saying, oh, the marriage is survived because of me. I am the calm one. I'm the patient one. That's why the marriage has reached 30 years. And we're arguing. My pastor was looking at me in a very funny way. And so when we finished and we're walking to the car, he called me aside and said, why were you wasting your time? You know you can never win that argument. And so I cut it short, but I learned a lesson. So the next year was 31 years of marriage. And we're sitting in the same pastor's office. And everybody was saying, happy 31st anniversary. And my wife brought up the same subject and said, you see, this marriage has lasted 31 years because of me. And I remembered what my pastor said. And I said, yes, it has lasted because of you. And I thank God for your life. I couldn't have got a better wife than you. So she looked at me and she said, are you correct? Did you wake up well? So never argue with your wife, and that's a lesson to those whose marriages end after 1 year. As my mother said, she said nowadays the longest marriages last is 5 years. And so it's a little tip to those who are getting married.